Sometimes that is better.
Hello, friends! Before we get into the show, I real quickly wanted to shamelessly promote my Patreon page. If you support me at the Freddy tier over there, you can co-host this podcast with me. It's been an absolute blast recording these for the past month or so, and I would love to have even more people to talk to. So make sure to sign up. If you're watching this on YouTube, go to the description in the link of this video, or look up patreon.com/killjoyjake, and you can sign up at the Freddy tier. Not only will you be able to co-host this podcast, but you also get a bunch of other bonus perks. All right, enough of the plugs. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Killjoy Jake podcast. This is episode 3, talking about doppelgangers today with Jesse. How you doing, Jesse?
How you doing, guys?
What's up, man? So you run the Jesse Storytime Spectacular, correct?
I am. That is my channel. I started this earlier this year, and it's been a lot of fun. As much as I do original stories, I can't shut up about horror movies.
Totally fair. I sympathize with
I
that.
love it.
Very nice, man. I love the name. I just had to point that out. It's great. Very good stuff, man. Now, you wanted to talk a little bit about like doppelgangers and horror movies today. Is there a specific draw you have to that? Like that, just a really scary concept to you? What are your thoughts on it?
As like a recent one, my mind kind of got stuck into Infinity Pool a little bit, which was kind of a fun, like, whoa. I just really didn't know what to expect from that movie. When I figured out it's also a cult, I was like, wow.
There's so many twists, right? It just doesn't, it's relentless. It doesn't stop.
At first, I honestly didn't check out whether it was like, like an A24 movie or something. I don't even know who made it.
So you watched this one on a whim? Did you go to the theater to see it?
No, I watched this here at my house.
Nice. Okay. No, that's good too, man. So, this was directed by Brandon Cronenberg, which is David Cronenberg's son.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. You can kind of now, it's like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Right. It's a very gross movie, but the doppelganger aspect of it, I think is like horrifying to see someone else with your face out there. It's a really scary concept to me. Do you like the way Infinity Pool plays it? Cause it's not necessarily like, your typical, like how Us treats it, where it's like that's the main horror of the movie. You know, Infinity Pool is much more about like killing the clones and like getting away with that. What are your thoughts on the way that Infinity Pool approaches the doppelganger idea?
I do like the mystery part that still lingers because you're never really sure if that's the real one. It seemed to turn into like a hunting fun game thing to them.
Right.
And I'm like, this is just so crazy. Like, I don't know.
I love the fake out you get halfway through the movie where it's them and like they just kind of you think it's the real people and then they all get killed off and you see them everyone's cheering in the crowd for it.
And you're like, what is going on? Like everybody just dies and this movie's over?
Right. Yeah, we're only 50 minutes into this. Like, what's going on? It's got a great cast too. We got Alexander Skarsgård, Mia Goth, Cleopatra Coleman too. Do you like? I'm just random question out there. Are you like a fan of Mia Goth? Do you like a lot of her other horror movies?
Dude, X was fantastic. I love T.I. West movies a lot too. So like, especially cult ones like, so he does a lot of good ones like that. And, Pearl was more kind of psych fun, you know, kind of watching her fall from grace and unwind a little bit.
And just going completely nuts.
And well done. It kind of, I liked the little lead into X they did at the end there. I don't want to ruin stuff for people, but they plant something there for you.
Oh yeah, I want to say it. I want to say it. Oh man, it's so good.
I'm holding back.
Well, I appreciate that. Also with Infinity Pool too, killer practical effects as well throughout the entire film. What are your thoughts on like practical effects versus like digital, which is more of like a newer thing in mainstream horror?
It could go either way. Let's say we've got big budget and it's going all spectacle like. Sure, that's pretty cool, but as long as it's effective, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen like effective
low budget
CGI.
movies I can still see if as long as it's working.
As long as it's not like Sharknado style CGI where it's clearly, clearly digital. If you can just do a little bit of touch up with that, yeah, it works at the end of the day. So I feel you on that, man. Infinity Pool as well, I think, has just one of the weirdest, most upsetting endings too, and it's not necessarily like in your face how they do it. Like, what's your interpretation of Alexander Skarsgård's character going back to the resort and just kind of giving up, sitting there in the rain?
Honestly, I kind of like it. I just like dark endings. I think, like you were mentioning earlier, they do a lot of really cool camera work with that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that shot right there, and him kind of doing that really creepy stare. He acts that real well. His facial expressions or something. Maybe the director picked him real well for this. I'm not sure what it was.
Oh, he's phenomenal, dude. I don't know if you've seen The Northman or not, but he's so good in that. Like, oh, I couldn't recommend that movie more than I already do.
What was it again? I'm sorry.
The Northman. It's like a period piece. He's like a Viking or something. He's killing people. I don't want to tell you too much.
I feel like I've seen the trailer or something like that for it, and I probably need to watch it. It's probably on my ad list.
Oh yeah, I highly recommend it. Killer movie, and it also stars him. So there you go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. So how, like, in contrast to this Infinity Pool, which the horror of it is more watching these characters descend into madness as basically they can get away with whatever the crime they want on this island. They just have to clone themselves, kill the clones, versus something like Us, where the horror is quite literally the clones that are coming after them to take their place. What do you like? Is there one or the other that you prefer when dealing with clones in horror movies? Like, do you think you like just the typical approach, maybe that like something like Us uses, or is Infinity Pool more or less your speed?
If it was a tug of war between those sort of movies, I'd probably like the Us aspect a little more. Only because they're trying to take that back over them.
I love Infinity Pool. It's probably my favorite horror film of the year. I also love Us, though. Like, I think it's kind of commonly gets shit on by a lot of Jordan Peele fans. They're like, oh, it's his worst movie. I'm like, I don't know about that, man. I really enjoyed Us. I thought it was a lot of fun. How does that stack up in your, like, if you've seen the other Jordan Peele movies, how do you think that stacks up in your ranking?
Yeah, that one's a lot of fun. I like how he adds a lot of bits of comedy there. Like the little radio saying F the police, and you're like, yo, heck yeah.
And she's dying.
Like, they put such good audio into that as the whole sequence goes, and the chase scene.
It's like, Alexa, call the police. Oh, you want to play NWA? Okay, yeah, that's so funny.
Great. I was like, oh man,
it's great how he adds that in there. It's still such an effectively scary movie, but at the same time, you get that Key and Peele energy from his heyday. It's I don't know. I've always loved his movies. I can't wait to see what he does next.
That's a great point. You almost wonder whether they were in the same room a little bit while he was making the movie.
Oh yeah, very very funny stuff from them. Also in Us too, we have a killer cast once again: Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Elizabeth Moss, Tim Heidecker as well, another comedian. That definitely adds to the humor of the movie a lot, I think. But it's cool to see someone like Tim Heidecker, who I know personally from Tim and Eric.
Tim's sneaky too, like that in movies. Like you wouldn't really expect him to be in a horror movie like that. That's a serious horror movie. You know what I mean? So I do like those little Easter eggs, I guess you would say.
Yeah, right. It's fun to spot actors from something wildly different, And even then he gives a very goofy performance. Even as his counter, but it's fun. It's fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, even just watching them crazy.
I also think a lot of the fun with both of these movies, Infinity Pool and Us, is they both kind of have big twists somewhere in there. Us's twist. Spoilers.
But I mean, that one's been out for a while, so it's I don't want to, I'll ruin something, but
go watch the movie. Come on back.
People are happy a chance to watch it already, so
Right. Exactly. So, twist with this movie, Lupita Nyong'o's character has actually been her double the whole time that you've been following. You know, her double that lives down below is actually the real version of this character. Which twist do you think you prefer between Us and Infinity Pool? Like, Infinity Pool is more like you think it's going to be about one thing, but it's really more about like these characters just getting away with murder, essentially. Like what do you think is more effective? The dramatic take that like Us has versus like Infinity Pool's kind of more. It's a softer blow. It's less. It's more like you were expecting this. Here's something else.
in seriousness of the of the film itself, and not like trying to kind of look back and laugh on something a little bit with a horror movie. I feel like Infinity Pool played it a little more like crisp and kind of right to the point.
Yeah,
without too much going on.
I think both twists work, but it's like. But I do feel like Infinity Pools, because it's maybe a smaller story, it's just a little more like conjunct together, if that makes sense. Like where Us is, it feels a little like disjointed at times because it's like we're doing this, we're fighting clones, and now suddenly, oh shit, like at the ending it's been this the whole time. So it is a little more all over the place, and it literally ends in the world fucking ending.
Yeah, I really do like how Us. Well, I mean, both films do it, but Us really like mind twists. Like you definitely weren't expecting it to go this way, and then a totally unexpected change again. I mean, Infinity Pools were a little like, okay, well, I'm seeing maybe 3 more options of how this could go.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And then you're like, they're messing with me, but
because it's so bizarre, it's so bizarre in Infinity Pool. You're almost like, is this going somewhere else? Like, I don't, it's so unfamiliar. You're like not 100% sure where the third act's going to take you.
Switch, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I really enjoyed both. Jesse, if you had to say that you liked one more than the other, though, I'm curious which one you'd go with.
Both are real bangers. I mean, if y'all have not seen any Infinity Pool, please do yourself a favor out there and definitely do that. I think I'm gonna go with Us.
Hell yeah, dude.
Because I was really freaked out. I know you're probably gonna laugh a little bit, but I was really freaked out by the young daughter doppelganger.
Oh no, dude, I feel you on that.
She was just like, she just had this vicious look, like, man, like, I am not here to play. I am creeping you out. I am coming for you. Like, don't fuck with me.
It's like she has the slicked back hair more, and it's almost like her eyebrows are gone and like her eyes are like wide open, and she just starts running after the prime version. It's like, that's so creepy, man.
It's so creepy. And they always had this camera work with her, so it's like she comes out from like the shadow, but you could see that red thing on her face, the little red hairband thing, so you knew it was her, but it kind of creeps out the camera work.
I love the scene where she's on top of the car chasing like the main version of the daughter character.
That was fun. Definitely a treat.
Absolutely, man, dude.
So funny, man.
It's so like the guy comes out of nowhere and he's just like, "Get off of my car!" and she just starts beating him to death. It's like, oh my god, go, get out of there.
Going nuts.
It's awesome, man. That whole movie is so fantastic. Once again, another instance where it's like, this can be very funny but very scary at the same time. I feel like Us captures that very, very well. Keeping on topic with doppelganger movies, technically Face Off falls into this category.
Yes, like my buddy and I were going back and forth, and he randomly was like, would it be like a switching, people kind of thing for doppelgangers? And I'd probably say yes. So, Face Off would definitely fit into that as a goofy, quirky 90s awesome action movie.
I totally agree with that though. Like maybe it doesn't fit in the like doppelganger category of movies, but it's kind of the same fear. You know, it's literally like finding someone with your face. Like that's horrifying. So I think that it instills the same kind of vibe that a lot of these movies we're talking about go for, except, you know, with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. But it's great, man. I enjoy this movie. More of an action movie for sure, but I think it still definitely has a little bit of that, even with the ridiculousness. It still has the fear. What's your just overall take on Face Off?
It's an intense, fun movie. It's crazy. Especially just Nicolas Cage going nuts.
That's always great, isn't it?
I had fun with the John Travolta badassness a little bit because he's usually more on the dancey, uppity side. And when he does his bad boy acts, it's kind of goofy and he's charming about it. It's funny. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of laughing with his evilness.
I think that's why it works so well. You know, it's like they both got a silly thing going on. It's a little different, but it's there. You know what I mean? It's there with both of them. I think it's like Pulp Fiction, for instance. Like John Travolta, you know, you're pretty much taking him seriously, but he's a little goofy, you know, a little goofy in that movie in a good way, of course. But I think that's just the way he tries to play badass characters. It's fascinating to me.
I did want to ask you, have you seen Triangle, which was on my episode of, you know, Jesse's Gems? I would love your opinion on that one.
Dude, it's really funny you bring that movie up. That's going to be my like Patreon review video this month because I've been like that's been on my watch list for the longest time, and I've heard so many people, including yourself now, talking about this movie. They're like, it's so good, like you have to watch this. I haven't seen it yet. I'm literally going to watch it tomorrow morning though. I'm so excited.
Man, I'm psyched for you.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you.
That's a really good one. Like I said in my video, just pay attention to detail. It will really ring back at you. You'll have a lot of fun, trust me.
Nice. So you like this one though a lot.
Oh yeah, this is one of my like absolute top of the list crazy horror movies and psychological woes, like twists and turns.
Those are my favorites.
Yeah.
Very nice, man. Very nice.
Predictable moments in that movie, but they still come off really effective.
Okay.
You'll still definitely be like, you know, I gotta find out where this is going. What the heck's going on?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's fine. That's I'm fine with that. Like I've seen so many movies where I'm like, there's a jump scare or something where I'm like, yeah, I could, I can see that coming from a mile away. But if the rest of the movie's just banging, like if there's something that's so masterful in something, I can't be like, well, this sucks because of that one scene. That's just not fair, you know? Talking about 2023 horror as well, because we talked a little bit about Infinity Pool. That's my personal favorite movie of the year. But Jesse, what movie from this year has really stuck out the most to you?
Maybe Terrifier 2.
Okay, from last October? Dude, fuck yeah, man.
It's been a lot of fun to kind of revisit, you know. I've been going back with certain scenes to kind of just see if they match anything more with the first one. Because I've seen the first one like 12 times, so I figured I'd just check it back out. That's a good one.
Have you watched you've watched the first one recently, though?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that first one now, like after seeing 2? Like, does it change that first movie for you at all?
That one's been a little more fun to revisit just because you will see little Art the Clown connections that you kind of weren't sure about, especially with that ending.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. But I still have a lot of questions about his first victim and that whole thing. Like, I'm just a little lost there. I like the way they planted the seed and they've given just little bits of it. That's the only thing I'm kind of negative on the ending of the movie. But since knowing 3 is coming, I'm psyched.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. There's definitely more story to tell. You know what I mean? Like it's a little open ended at the moment with the mythology and all that, but I think we get an answer in the next one.
I have to give some love to Scream 6.
Oh God,
I'm
hell yeah,
huge,
dude.
huge Scream fans because we know some of the background production issues and stuff. It was a little muddy with certain parts and kind of too convenient, but it was a lot of fun and really, really cool scenes. And definitely, I like that they're doing something different.
Were you sad that Nev Campbell wasn't in it?
Not terribly. At least they mention it. At least they're not just like ignoring the fact that she isn't there.
Right.
At least they're placing her somewhere so that they can bookmark her later in the series if they get her, which we hope for 7.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they didn't just do what like Halloween 4 did, where it's like, oh, well, Laurie Strode died in a car accident that we never get to see.
It's completely just one line, nothing. About it. You can feel her being gone a little bit, but it isn't like you're feeling like she isn't coming back.
Yeah, there's definitely like hope for that. I feel moving into 7. I could see it happening in the next movie, which would be great. I would love to see her back again. I missed her in this movie. I just hope they don't give her the same treatment as like, oh, your third act backup again, or you're just here to save the new characters. Like, have Ghostface going after Sydney again. I want to see that if we can incorporate it into the story if possible.
I think you mentioned it in one of your videos too. Pretty much it's kind of like Scream 3, where you kind of want to see just something crazy from the old ones that lingers into the new one. I would love to see Patrick Dempsey fucking just back in the movie, being her husband with the kids, playing the scared dad. But
I think that's a perfect way to integrate her character into this. Like, if her family's in trouble, like full on Sidney Prescott badass is coming out to take care of some bullshit.
Took a sec there, but
dude, you're good, man.
Definitely, it was her and him were a big part of Scream 3. Their whole connection, their whole little talks about their past, even though it was weird, but it did work, and I did enjoy that Sydney was connecting with someone, even if it was slightly trauma-based.
It's a wonderful meet cute, for a lot of reasons. It's like Sydney has been going through all this BS in the last 2 movies. It's just been constantly getting worse throughout 1 and 2. And then in 3, it's like, she's in this horrible place to start with, but she comes out of it with like someone she can relate to, taking down another asshole. And then she's out of it, she's out of the woodwork. It feels like the end of the story, but of course there's always more.
There's always more, but
the final chapter means nothing.
At least they gave her
of
some piece for something, and then it's kind of good that they did in 6 like that, where they're like, no, Sydney needs to do what she's doing right now. She's not involved in this one. That's all right.
She was missed. It's a very busy movie. There's a lot of characters, lots of moving parts and subplots and all that. It would be tough. I wonder how they would have been able to fit her in that movie. I think that's my one thing. I'm like, I don't know how you can add more to it. That's what I find tough about Scream 6. I really enjoy it. I love it. It's possibly one of my favorite sequels, but there is that side of it too. I love all your background stuff, by the way. I love Demon to some, angels to others. That's awesome.
I've been trying to figure out how to fill this little gap that I have going, and I'm thinking I'm gonna have to get like some sort of banner tapestry.
Ooh, okay.
Something like that, and fill that in, and then I gotta obviously put something over that door if I'm doing stuff during the day.
My lighting situation is horrible right now, man. So don't even don't even worry.
Cursed by the glasses thing. It's just always like, we're always going to be shined into our glasses like that, no matter what.
Yeah, you can just see the ring light like bouncing off of my glasses right now. It's awful. I've been wearing contacts like to avoid that because it bothers me that much when I'm editing something. I'm like, oh, and I can't take my glasses off. Like I got to be able to read.
If I could get them in my eyes, I would. but I struggled for like 2 months to try to do it, and I just couldn't do it right.
Did you see any other movies this year? I'm just curious. Like, was there anything else that really stood out to you besides like Scream, Terrifier? We had a new Evil Dead movie that came out recently.
Evil Dead Rise was definitely a lot of fun. I liked that they used the kids. That was just great integration to the story. And the whole book thing was pretty neat. You
Came out of the
remember
ground.
stuff from Army of Darkness with that. So that's kind of relatable to the series, not just the cabin.
Yeah, it's like this is something that's been set up since like Army of Darkness that we're playing around with. And it's like, whoa, that's sick, you know? Even though those movies feel worlds away because of the wildly different tone, it's like, well, they're still connected, even here today. And that's fun. I love that. I love that Ash still has a connection to these new movies, even if he's kind of like done with the character. Did you miss Bruce Campbell in like the newer Evil Dead movies?
I did miss him. You know how there's the Easter egg in there with him, the audio thing.
Yeah. Yes.
I kind of don't want to ruin it too much for too many people, but they will find it, you know.
Gotta listen. You gotta listen for the Easter egg.
Yeah. That's the only problem is since I'm hearing impaired, I had to go back and listen like 3 times, and it was just frustrating to have to do it. But thankfully, it came to streaming to make that easier for me.
It is there, I promise. You know,
I need to hear that scene. Dang it.
Absolutely. But yes, Evil Dead Rise 2, having like children actors like getting possessed and all that, this is a new thing to step into. Like it's usually been like teenagers in a cabin. Sometimes it's medieval knights. How do you feel about that with Evil Dead Rise? Like, do you think they should adopt something like that moving into whatever the next film's going to be? Like whole new set of characters opposed to what we've gotten in the past?
Not a complete whole set of characters new, but obviously use the ending of the last one to bring in something like that if they do, or maybe like family characters, the mom and dad maybe, or something to come to check on, do like wellness.
Do you like the characters from Rise?
About them kind of thing, or that didn't hear from them or something.
So you kind of want like a continuation from the last movie. That's kind of what you're looking for. Okay.
Carry into it, yeah.
I've always wanted to see like the Deadite apocalypse, like where it's like we're taken over, like the whole planet's getting taken over by Deadites. And the ending technically the beginning lends itself to that in a lot of ways. Have you ever seen the alternate ending for Army of Darkness where like it's Ash and he goes into the future and it's like everything's destroyed and you're only left to assume it was because of the Book of the Dead?
I did not see that alternate. I gotta check that out.
Oh man, I recommend. It's like I think it's part of the director's cut. I recommend it if you can get your hands on a copy or something. It is really interesting.
Okay.
But I'd love to see that.
I may have that DVD from that one. Yeah, I think I have the director's cut. It creeped me out that they did the apartment building in the different parts of the apartment building too. It wasn't just like one room or something stupid like that. They used the apartment building to its advantage.
Right, like they getting caught in the elevator, the parking garage, you know, the one Deadite's going through the fucking air vents and shit. They utilize the space really well, I think. I agree. Are you doing the Barbenheimer thing this weekend or no? Like no interest in that.
I did not. I am not.
I don't blame you. It's a weird double feature.
I saw that you were putting it out that Terrifier is coming back to theaters, select theaters, and that was pretty neat to go see.
Something for the viewers out there. We are recording this on what is it? The 19th of July. Probably won't see this until August, but yes, this is the day that Terrifier got re-released into theaters. Are you planning on doing that tonight or no?
It'd honestly be interesting to check it out, but I don't know if it'll be around me. I'll have to Google that.
I posted something about it on the channel, like if you need the link or whatever. Dude, like what's crazy is I found that like tonight there's a bunch of showings like everywhere by me, but literally tomorrow, like starting tomorrow, I have to drive like 200 miles if I want to see this thing. It's like, what? That's crazy. So if you can, try to see it tonight if you really want to see it in theaters. So
that'd be cool. I mean, if they did like a midnight show or something, that'd be awesome.
Oh, dude, absolutely, man. I would love to see this one at the drive-in. Art the Clown on a gigantic screen in your car, you know. Ooh, that's spooky.
I miss doing that, man.
It's been a while for me, too.
Like a date a long time ago.
Before we really start to wrap this up, Jesse, is there anything you want to throw out into the world? You want to throw something out there regarding like something you want to plug or a horror opinion you think that's a hot take that the world needs to hear?
To list off a couple things that I've watched recently that would probably get everybody's interested. I watched the new Hulu Predator.
Okay.
Or Prey, whatever, they called it Prey technically. That was awesome. Definitely check that out if you like the monster movie kind of feel. If you want to have a mind pull and get upset with yourself and not sure whether you like it or not, you're going to have to watch Halloween Ends. But read the book. Please read the book. I have that. That was awesome. Good choice.
It's so much better.
Does some justice. Check out the movie Coherence.
So you were telling me this before we recorded. I have not seen this movie. Like,
really?
Give me something about it without spoiling anything, if you can.
A comet is going over Earth. 6 friends have all met to go to a dinner party that they all haven't seen each other in years. Kind of like The Invitation. So some weird shit starts going on.
Okay. I'm digging it. Let's get you a shout out too one more time for your YouTube channel. Hit me with that one more time.
Well, it's going to be, it's Jesse's Storytime Spectacular. You guys will have a lot of fun. Trust me, I do a lot of comedy stuff there. And I like to bring up movies like that. Might not have heard of Coherence. Triangle was kind of a British sort of film. So it, might not have gotten as much play in America yet. Definitely just try to bring up things that maybe some other people haven't thought of.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. That's good. That's good stuff. That's why we do it.
And with a laugh, I gotta do something fun with it. I mean,
right. You don't want to just be talking, It's like, gotta be crazy. Gotta be a little crazy. Gotta be a little fun, man. Well, Jesse's YouTube channel will be in the link in the description of this video, so make sure to subscribe. Very good stuff.
I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, man. It's been a pleasure talking with you, man. I'm hyped to get this thing uploaded. So thank you all again for watching the podcast. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.